Hi there, Chris from TotallyEV, and today we're doing a audio review of the Passat GTE Advance. Now the car can be found for around £38,000, although this trim can be found for around £41,000. If you'd like to watch or indeed read the full review, do check out in links in the description below to see how this car performs on the whole. Now, despite being the advanced version, the car that we have over here has 8 speakers. It's the default configuration in the VW Passat, and furthermore, if you do want to upgrade it to 10 speakers and have 700 watts of output, although it's worth bearing in mind you still won't get a subwoofer due to the fact that this is the hybrid variant, then it'll cost you £1,150. Now, before jumping into this video, if you do have Instagram, would very much appreciate a follow. It's at TotallyEVNet. It'll be on your screen and indeed in the description. So let's see how the stock system actually sounds. So first off, let's talk about the setup, which is extremely simple in the stock audio system, but it's still great to see that VW have integrated treble, mid and bass adjustments. So you can see over here, I've got +2 on treble, +1 on mid and -2 on bass. Your mileage may vary in terms of your music that you might like. It's worth bearing that in mind. It's also worth knowing that you can connect via Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, or indeed via Bluetooth to the system. So that's pretty good to see. In terms of positioning, so you can position in terms of fader, and then of course you've got the volume setting over here, which is mainly to do with how the car interacts. So for example, when you are parking, in terms of if there is a volume reduction. So with the setup out of the way, how does the car actually sound? Well, to give you an idea, I've put the camera and the microphone in 4 different locations throughout the cabin and played a song. Now the song that I'll be using is from an artist called Priya. The song name is called Falling. You can find it down in the description below for your reference.
To success, I'm not quite sussed it yet. When I reach the brink, I'll stop to think. I always sing, and now I'm falling again. Next thing you know, I'm crawling. I am crawling my way back to falling from so high.
So hopefully that little audio demo gave you an indication of how the car sounds. So now, in terms of my own subjective analysis, let's break down the sound frequencies and let's start with the low end tones. Now in terms of the sub bass, there's very little extension. While it might be present given the fact that you're getting it kind of artificially via the full range drivers that are found within the doors, the car does not have a subwoofer, and this is because of the batteries which are comprised at the back in terms of the boot. As a result, the car doesn't really extend into the lower frequencies. It does cut off, and therefore if you're a real bass head, you will feel that it's a bit lacking. As for the mid-bass tones, there is a lot of quantity over here, although a little less quality. The mid-bass does sound a little bit wobbly, and while it does give you that sort of enjoyment, would have liked a little bit more refinement. It's not to say it's bad, it's just that in comparison to what you'd be paying for the car, so from £38,000 to £41,000, we'd have expected a sound that is just a little bit more convincing in the mid-bass tones. On the plus side, the mid-range does come out pretty well, specifically if you were to EQ it. And as such, the mid-range in terms of vocals are really nice to hear and relatively forward sounding. Now of course you could get better forward sounding mids, but for a stock system and at this price range, it's actually pretty impressive. The same could go for the highs. The highs actually extend really well and give you a really nice extension at the top end. They're not too sibilant or harsh sounding, and of course you can tailor this to your liking through the EQ settings, but on the whole we're actually pretty impressed with the high-end frequencies. As for the Soundstage, well, it's a little bit of a mixed bag, because on one hand the car has decent instrument separation and the width of the car is relatively good, although the depth in terms of what you hear in terms of music is a little bit close sounding and is not as airy as we'd like. Now granted, this is the stock system, and for a stock system it's actually not too bad. Ultimately, what we're trying to say over here is that the Soundstage could have been a little bit more improved, but for a stock option, VW should be commended for it. So on the whole, what do I make of the sound system that's comprised within the VW Passat GTE Advance, the stock option that is, not the Dyne Audio one? Well, I will say that the sound is actually pretty fun and pretty nice to listen to, specifically in terms of its mid-range department and even in terms of highs. I think that VW have got a good sort of blend here. Of course, the sound could have really been improved if it had a subwoofer, or indeed had a little bit more control in the mid-bass tones. But on the whole, I think most people will be pleasantly surprised as to how the VW Passat actually sounds, specifically given, again, that this is a stock option, the 8-speaker configuration, rather than the Dynaudio Confidence Pack, which is around 1,100 as an additional option. As a result, the VW Passat GTE Advance gets TotallyEV's Value Award for its audio system, because essentially it is included for free. Now, let us know in the comments below what you make of the audio system within the Passat GTE, or indeed the Dynaudio Confidence Pack if you have it or have heard it. We're very much intrigued to hear your thoughts. If you like this type of video, give it a like, subscribe to see more, and of course favourite and share, as it always help the channel grow. Take care guys, Chris from TotallyEV out. Bye bye.